Okay, as everyone knows, they've announced a Elden Ring DLC, and it's called Shadow of the Erd Tree. The title Shadow of the Erd Tree is weirdly straightforward for FromSoft, but it is expectedly straightforward for Elden Ring. The image they show here has a couple interesting things, and I'm sure people will make 1,500-hour lore videos on this thing. First of all, we have who we think is Miquella, given the long blonde hair and white robe. That's a typical Miquella motif. And over here is what appears to be something like the Erd Tree. Now, a couple theories here. One is this is the burnt Erd Tree, and the power is still coming out of it. It's like the charred corpse of the Erd Tree, but the Golden Order energy is still coming out. Or this is the Great Tree, which was the tree before the Erd Tree, if my lore is correct, which housed the power known as the Crucible, I think. And this was like before the conflict which gave way to the Erd Tree and the Golden Order. This kind of makes sense to me too, because Miquella is not in a usable state, I don't think, unless he or someone waved a magic wand and got him out of the debacle that Moog put him in. So this could be in the past. FromSoft likes to put time travel stuff in their DLCs in general and just make the lore even more complicated and convoluted if it wasn't already hard enough to wrap your mind around. So this could be the Great Tree and the beginning of the Golden Order. Does that make sense? Miquella was not around at that point. I don't think I know my Elden Ring timeline well enough. I think the Great Tree was usurped by the Erd Tree. I need to look at a family lineage tree on Elden Ring because I forget who begat who. Okay, here we are. So it's Marika and Radagon. They bore Miquella and Melania. Interesting. This just makes me think. So I've had like this side tangent here. My personal theory is that I think that Marika set in motion various events with the goal of fixing the Golden Order. There are two laws in the Golden Order that are in conflict with one another, and they are the law of regression and law of causality. Think about what a god is in concept. A god or goddess is a set of ideals. And so Marika represents one of those laws. Stay with me here, okay? Radagon represents another one of those laws. And if you marry them literally, right, then the laws can become not in conflict or something like that. And their offspring maybe represents a solution to this conflict, to the conflict of those laws. However, due to various events, Melania and Miquella were like compromised. Her solution got screwed up too, basically. That's my personal little theory about what Marika did, but it's really hard to know if any of that's true or not. Because Miquella was born to Radagon and Marika, I actually think this is not in the past. This must be the burnt Erd Tree, right? And look at all the ash that falls off of it. So that's probably what it is. But something is coming up out of it, and it looks like Golden Order juice. Okay, since editing this video, I was perusing the cesspool of Reddit. People were proposing some interesting theories here, and I wanted to stick this in. I didn't notice this. I'm just going to repeat it, though. This is actually two trees. One tree that follows this line, see it straight, and a second tree that comes up this way, it looks like, and kind of wraps around it. It's kind of like a hand, actually. Sort of. Right? So maybe the straighter one is what's left of the Erd Tree. And it's charred. And this is the golden juice coming out of it. In this tree, I suggested it might be the Great Tree. The Great Tree housed the Crucible. It could be this other tree referenced by the Deathbird lore. Or this is some monstrosity that came from Godwin's decaying body. This is Deathblight. See, I thought this was ash. This could be Deathblight, particulates, or whatever that is. It falls like ash. But who knows? It's all very interesting, but I wanted to mention that too. Again, wasn't my observation, but someone pointed it out and I wanted to share that. For those of you who are new to FromSoft DLCs, what tends to be the case is that they go in a direction you do not expect. That's why I'm surprised that it's called Shadow of the Erd Tree. Like, for example, Dark Souls 3, one of the DLCs was called The Ringed City. And it's like, what's this city? Why is it ringed? Who's there? Why am I going there? What time is it in? And when you hear the names of them, the connection isn't clear at first. And usually what happens is they usually answer some questions and pose more questions at the same time. So don't expect this to be like this, bringing it full circle. It's going to be some bizarre open-ended thing that you're kind of go, well, does it mean this? Does it mean that? Because that's just how FromSoft do. We also have these like ghost images here. They're like gravestones and they have these circles in them, like these holes cut out. We see this a lot in Elden Ring. That was actually in the Ring City DLC too, is that kind of motif. These different markers, and they're kind of ghost images, and it's similar to the ghost images that you see in Altus Plateau, I think. Well, no, they're in different places in the game. There are these various ghost images of banners and like flags, and I'm not sure, is that like a memory of the Shattering or something like that? I'm not sure what it is. Another question too is this Torrent, or is it another Torrent-like spirit animal? And if this is Miquella, does that mean that the forces that be like Melania, or did Torrent, because Torrent chose us, right? Maybe Torrent chose Miquella now. Wouldn't that be interesting? What if the Tarnished failed and Miquella was salvageable, and then Miquella became the one to try to fix things, so Torrent then chose Miquella, and we are there to help Miquella? That seems awfully straightforward for FromSoft, so I doubt it, but that would be interesting to kind of switcheroo on you like that. Anyway, there it is, Shadow of the Erdtree. Release date, literally who knows. It'll be in 2026. So, what do you think? Are you excited? Like I am? I'm definitely excited. Here's the question for the video, okay? What percent of the lore in Elden Ring would you say you have a good grasp on? Most people who play Elden Ring don't even know what the Elden Ring is. Like, it's hard to even explain what the Elden Ring is. You tell me what percent of the lore you think you have a good grasp on. Is it 10%? Is it 90%? Are you like a Elden Ring lore guru? I would say, if I'm being really honest about it, and I feel like I know a pretty good amount, I would say I sit around the like 30% mark. I know a lot more than the average player. So that's my number, 30%. What's your number? Put it in the comments below, and take care.